How to tie the corned beef and salt pork knot. Before we actually start tying the corned beef and salt pork knot, at the end of this video I will show you how to adjust it when your meat shrinks over time. Right, so let's get on and tie the corned beef and salt pork knot. Okay, so as you can see, my working end is going off to the right hand side, my standing part is running down the bottom here towards me. The first thing that we need to do is our pretend piece of meat, or the dog's blanket, is pass our working end underneath it all. So pass it underneath your piece of meat and bring it out on the top side. Bring it out on the top side and take enough through to actually tie this knot itself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie it loosely so that you can actually see the shape that you're looking for. Once I've done that, I then get hold of my standing part and I bring my working end underneath my standing part and just bring it round across the top at that point there. Now that I've done that, I then get my working end and I'm going to pass it underneath my standing part at this point here. So bring it down underneath and pull through the excess. Now that I've done that, I've pulled through the excess, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it. So I'm going to pass my working end over this one and over this one here as well, and then bring it out. I'll show you as we go along. So bring it round, so allow it to cross over. It's going over both of them, and then bring it underneath the left-hand one at that point there. So you can see now here, it's going over this one, and bring it out underneath this one, and bring it out through the middle. Bring it out through the middle, and you can now see, for the observant ones amongst you, you can see now we've either got the bunt line hitch, which is actually the bunt line hitch tied around the standing part, or some of you will also recognize this as the clove hitch. And then once we've done that, all it leaves for us to do now is tighten this knot up. And so what I'm going to do now is just adjust it to close that gap there around my standing part, and then I can now start pulling up tight, and it's not too dissimilar to the butcher's knot. So as we pull it up nice and tight, it's starting to strangle it, and you want the knot to actually form tightly around our standing part here. And so therefore now we can pull it up tight, so not too dissimilar to the butcher's knot or the Canadian jam knot, and then pull it up nice and tight. And then once you've got it up nice and tight, we then form a loop at that point here and just put our working end through that loop and lock it off in a half hitch style. And there we have it. We've now tied the corned beef and salt pork knot. Now the whole idea of this is, if you are making corned beef or salt pork, over time in the process your meat will shrink. And what we can do is every so often just slip our half hitch off here and then go back and tighten it a bit more. And once you've tightened it a bit more, just go back and lock it off again. And there you have it. We've now locked it off and it's staying in place. One thing to be aware of is that if you're pulling up really tight on this one, it's not easy to undo. So anyway, there you have it, the corned beef and salt pork knot.